I say 𝘃𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗲.
There's your red gone, because Luke's head's normally gone by this point.
Oh, mate. Oh, dear.
Well, welcome to Woodside Fishery. This is a venue I've never heard of before until yesterday. I was looking rather last minute for a venue for this particular trip. Not best on my part leaving it so late, but Catch came to the rescue, Googled it, found local to me, obviously, where I needed the venue, and managed to find this place, Woodside Fisheries, which is about Devizes sort of area. So not too far from me and ideal for the person I'm fishing against today, because this is series number 2 of the Prologic Versus series. So if you haven't seen series 1, I highly recommend you go back and watch it so you understand how it all works, but also because I had a very good first series. I won 3 out of the 4 matches, spoiler alert, but do go back and watch them. That was all against myself and Luke. This series, a little bit different. So let's get down to the swims where we're going to do the swim choice or swim draw, and I'll show you who I'm up against. Well, it feels a little bit odd doing the start of a Prologic Versus looking up to my opponent. This isn't Luke, I haven't had a growth spurt, this is 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗲. So first of all, thank you for coming along.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me.
That's the last of the niceties because this is a versus after all. And as I've said to you in the intro, this is Woodside Fishery. Booked very last minute, may I add. I had a quick Google last night or yesterday afternoon on Catch. So I found this place on Catch. It's just outside of Devizes, a bit closer to you than the previous recommended venue we're going to go to. So big thanks to Rich, who runs this place, for getting us on last minute. Looks a lovely place, seen lots of fish, and you've already stuck your barrow in the swim that we both like the look of.
It was just convenient, mate, that's all.
But we are going to have to stick with the trusty lens cap flip. Do you want to do it or do you want to call it?
I'll call it. So what we're saying?
Well, if you're right, you get to choose the swim.
So that's face up, is it?
Face up, face down.
I'll go with face up then.
Face down. Well, I think you know you're going to have to move your barrow. So at least some things have stayed the same. Luke barely ever won the lens flip, so move your barrow, please. What do you reckon? Hour?
Yeah, probably, hopefully.
So my luck is continuing on winning the lens flip. There was definitely no rigging and no first time luck for Simon. Unlucky about that. I don't feel bad at all because I got the swim I like the look of to start with. Now it does dominate quite a lot of water. I'm not gonna lie, this swim, as you can see, it's sort of, the point goes around here. That's kind of where Simon's water kind of ends there on that point. I can go all the way up to right at the point of that bay. There's a white post stuck in the margin, basically in line with that big tree, the big sort of rounded tree opposite. And that goes all the way across into this bay here. Now there's a swim next door about on that point there by that bush, this side of that bush. Someone's going to be in that swim by tomorrow morning quite early. And there's also someone else rocking up in that swim over there, which is to the right of Simon. So we've got a lot of water today, and most of this water obviously is a lot there. From what I understand, talking to the owner, there's a sunken island out in front of here. And I have taken the drone up already this morning just to get some shots of the lake. Pretty visible. It's pretty much halfway out there, quite a big area. It's a lot shallower, and you can see just where the fish are mooching up and down, and when birds fly over, they're spooking all the time on the surface. So it's not very deep. I think it's about 3 foot, he was saying, and the deepest it goes down to about 6 around the margins. A lot of fish been shown on the margins as well, but also it's going to be stupid to ignore this bay that no one else can access other than from this swim. So that one, I'm probably going to go for a bit of a different approach where I'm going to be putting bait in the margin, just some sort of particles and things, and then the other ones will be on that flat spot and maybe over on the reeds as well. So I've got quite a lot of area to use, and I've heard from other people that fished on here, solid bags are a good tactic, which is ideal for me because, as you all know, I love a solid bag. So I have got a bucket tied up of those already, so I'm pretty much good to go. Have got a bucket of mixers as well. It is roasting hot and the fish are on the surface, but the few pouches I've put out so far, they've shown no interest whatsoever, and there is quite a bit of bird life on here. But we'll play it by ear. I've got a few different tactics in my armoury if I need to, could switch around, but I'm going to predominantly stick with the solid bags. There's no point in changing the tactic, which I'm so confident is. So it's very boring for you guys, but you know I loved it from the previous series and all other fishing sessions in my own personal fishing, so I'm not going to change it. Head over to Simon in a second, have a look around his swim, see where he's going to be thinking about putting things. Already having a lead about over there, so we'll catch up with him in a second and see how he's going to approach it for his side of the session. Right, so I've just told everyone about the vast expanse of space I've got in my swim. So can you just give us a quick 10-second tour of yours?
Yeah, so as you can see, I've got the poke hole here, which I feel like I've been stitched up a little bit, but you know, Joe did invite me down, so he gets the first pick. Oh no, fair enough, he did win on the draw.
You called it as well.
Yeah. So anyway, I've got this swim, and I've had a little lead around and just found that it's pretty uniform everywhere. About 4 foot, and then it sort of shelves up to sort of 2, 1.5 foot even on the far margins. So I'm just going to fish on the shelf where it drops down in about 4 foot of water, 2 on the far margin, and then 1 just around to my right into this little bay here, because there's quite a lot of fish there on the surface when we got here. So I'm just in the process of tying up some rigs, getting ready, because it's not long till we kick off now. So as always, I'm nice and prepared. Had absolutely nothing tied up. So yeah, I'm just going to do some nice little amnesia D rigs with little wafters, and just fish for a bite at a time really, and see how we get on.
So you may not be Luke, but you're as prepared as he always was.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you know, I rang him up and I said, "What's the key to fishing with Joe?" And he said, "Well, just do nothing, turn up, and see how you get on." So that's pretty much what I've done. And yeah, we'll see how we get on.
And also, you're filming this whole thing from your perspective on your YouTube channel, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to do my best, although we're going to be fairly busy running around with cameras here, there and everywhere, but I'm going to do my best to do a video for my channel as well. So I'll go into depth a little bit more about my spots, and I'll show you my rig and everything in a little bit more detail, and talk you through my bait and stuff like that. And yeah, so if you want to check out a bit more detail on what I'm doing, then make sure you check out my video as well. But this is the main event really. So,
right, I'm going back to my swim and find some spots, because I've got a lot of water to scan across.
awesome.
So we've just had a chat with Simon about where he's going to be fishing, sort of tactics and where he's putting them. Just want to have a quick lead about, not too much, because there's clearly fish in this area, but I don't want to just fish blind. Although solid bags are a pretty much cast anywhere method, I still want to be fishing in an area that I'm pretty confident in, that's going to work both day and night. So I'm going to start off with that far reed line, which is where I want to put one rod. The other one I want to put on the plateau, or at least find out exactly where this raised bit is. And then the other one's in the margin, which I'll just go around in a second and have a little plod around and find an area I like the look of. But this first one's going to go over to that far reed line. That's gone onto the bank, which is exactly what I wanted to do, just to bring it back slowly. There we go. Right, so that's pretty much as far as I'd ever want to go. So I'll just clip that up so I know exactly how far that is, in case it's... I'll tell you what, no, I won't yet. I'll feel how that feels. Oh, very smooth and tappy. Very smooth and gravelly. I believe so. As Simon's saying, it feels the same everywhere he is. From what I understand, this place is relatively young in terms of how old the lake is. I think it's just over 10 years since it's been dug, and it's soft, clay, sandy bottom. So it's very likely that it's going to be like that all over. Maybe the odd pocket of silt and bit of weed in places, but overall, it's pretty smooth. That's better. Oh, lovely and gravelly. That's got to be a spot. So clip that up, and I believe I can get round that side. So I'll make it around and just sprinkle bait in a little bit. We'll find out what that distance is, so we can hit that spot repeatedly, hopefully, after multiple captures. So it was 11 wraps to that reed line. I'm now just going to check where this sunken area is, or the plateau. Don't think it's too far, but I'm going to go over the back of it. Didn't really get a drop there, so that seems like it's pretty shallow already. clear again. Oh, it's just caught there. There we go. So maybe that's coming up the back of it. And it's gone, whoa. Almost felt like the lead was free falling then, it was so polished. But I've come up the back of something. It feels pretty clear there. Caught again. That feels very smooth. Let's just clip that. Well, I'm not even getting a drop, so it must be. It's smooth. What I'm putting back on is smooth and gravelly, but it's next to no drops. That must be the plateau. So as I thought, not very far out, about where you can see it from the bank, and obviously I saw a clearer area on the drone earlier. But just have another cast out. It's so shallow, I'm barely able to get a drop because it's hitting the bottom before I can even feel it down, but I'll try. Donk. Oh, I got a bit of a drop then. And it's beautifully clean. So I'm happy with that as the second spot. Just clip that up, wrap that out, sorry. Go around to the margin and have a little lead about. I'm pretty sure it's going to be clear everywhere there as well. So this is the bay that no one else can access. Sorry, little ducklings, scaring them back to their mum. But no one else can access this from anywhere on the lake, apart from me from that swim. So, oh, absolutely solid. God, if you could feel this, I know you can only see it, but that's absolutely solid everywhere. How deep is it? Let's check. So I can check that it's about 2 feet deep. So now I've given it a drop, so the lead hitting the bottom in 2 foot of water, or however much that is, the tip eye touches the surface of the water. I'm just going to have a lead about and see if I can find a slightly deeper hole anywhere along this margin. That's shallower, shallower, even shallower. I can now see the bottom there. I'm just going to keep plodding around. That's a bit deeper, bit deeper, bit deeper. It's all about 2 foot. Oh, there's a fish coming around under the surface. Quite a big one as well. 2 foot. So right close to the margin is about 2 foot of water. So it's going to go a little bit further out. A little bit deeper. Not a lot of difference. This whole area you can feel it's about 2.5 foot. So I'm not going to go real tight because I can see the bottom. It's only about a foot. Well, I can check. Yeah, it's about a foot deep. But just away from the bank, probably 5 foot, you're looking at between 2 to 3 foot. So I think that's going to be worth a shout. Just a bit shallow water access, or water that no one else can access. And I might just sprinkle some particle up and down this margin to get him patrolling up and down, and then my little solid bag sitting amongst all that. So hopefully get a bite. Right, 3 spots sorted. Nearly time to cast out. Okay, well if this was Luke I was against, I wouldn't have given you that much grace time to get ready. I call this match start time. You happy with that?
Yeah, happy with that, mate. Let's get this show on the road.
Hey?
Let's get this show on the road.
So, there's been so many fish in front of me. I've been trying to put mixers out. They've taken 1 or 2. Talking to the owner again, no one really fished for them on the top, and they're very finicky. And that's definitely proven the case with me. But it's good to see there's this many fish in front of me. I've also had a fish roll over this spot, which I clipped up. So that's the first one that's going to go out. And I'm going to persevere putting mixers out. because above all else I just love surface fishing. But let's get this one out first, hopefully no hiccups. I think I hit a fish on the landing.
Speak to fish there, mate.
So hit the clip a bit too high, but it's in the area and that's where fish have been showing, and I'm pretty sure that did land on a fish.
I'm taking a slightly different approach, cheating with a bait boat because they are allowed on this venue. And I want to get every edge I can against Joe because I've only got 24 hours, so...
You just can't cast 10 yards, can you?
Well, no, that's the problem. And also, apparently the swans are a bit of a nightmare with bait boats, so...
I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, we'll see. See if my boat makes it back in one piece or not. Right, let's see if the swan is going to come and kill me. Oh, he's already on his way over. Do you know what, Joe? I might just give it a minute until he's...
Now the viewers want you to see you putting them out.
He's literally come over. He's seen the boat already.
Right, well, while Simon has an issue with swans, I'm going to put my second one out. This one's going into the margins. You saw me putting some bait out there. Oh, that's a bit soft. There we go. Just a bit of a flick. We'll have a bee around my head. Donk. Lovely.
I can't really do anything with that swan now.
Sounds like a you problem.
I think he's coming for some of your mixers, Joe, so that's all right.
2 down. But I'd like it if you saw my line.
Oh, yeah.
See my line? Oh, you absolute... Straight through it. He saw it and it's gone straight through it.
Oh, he's coming for the boat, look. He's got the rage.
I think I got away with it. I think it's safe to say the bird life might be an issue this session.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate, to be honest.
Right.
Do I risk it or...?
I want to see, he's already started to fluff.
I know, he's already a bit angry with us, isn't he?
Leave me alone. No. Are you...
Oh, mate.
Has he gone through it? Yes, he has gone through it.
Bad
Right, so this one needs redoing already.
I'll get this out while Joe's faffing.
Right. What a start to the match.
Oh, he's coming for a go at the boat.
That will do.
That was nice, mate.
It may have clipped the bank, but solid bag.
Oh, Joe, what's
Still
going to happen
presented.
here? Look. Oh, he's looking at it. He's looking at it. I think I've got away with that one.
Well, at least people don't come to CARPology for professional content from me, or Luke,
Or me.
and you now.
One eternity later.
Right, well, I need to tie this one back up with another bag, but I do have a load of spares. But I might hang fire and try and get them taking mixers out in front of me rather than sticking that one out. Have a little risk. But there's 2 now fishing as long as the swans don't come through again and scupper me. Oh, that wasn't very smooth. What is this, Antiques Roadshow? What's that?
What, the boat? Does the job?
He's not a fan.
No.
one more pouch of freebies.
Keep them interested.
They definitely seem to know when I'm putting a rig out.
Yeah. Like most carp, they seem to have wised up to most things.
Well, already an hour has gone since we cast out. And with this heat, it makes the session this short feel like I've been here for about 2 days.
Yeah, I'm absolutely sweltering, mate.
Now, you had a bit of an ordeal with the swans.
Oh God, yeah. I was trying to put it out with the bait boat, and the owner did say actually that the swan's quite aggressive, especially this time of year. But I thought I'd risk it because the swan was down the other end, but as soon as I sent it out, he came flying along, and he just followed it all the way to the margin, and then just under my rod tips started going mental and whacking it with his wing, and managed to knock a bit of plastic off the top of it. I presume it still works, but...
You think he's being defensive about his young, but I think he's just telling you that you can probably cast where you're fishing.
Yeah.
But my rods went out. As you saw, Swan took them out straight away, so they've been a bit of a pain for both of us. But I've now got 2 on the deck, and I'm trying to get one off the top, but proving more difficult than I expected. The owner did say they're extremely finicky on the top. Not many people fish from them on the top. He's only had 1 ever off the surface, but it's one of my favourite methods other than solid bag, so I am persevering. And the taking mixers, even right now behind me, but as soon as the float goes out, they've gone.
Yeah, I've gone with a zig on the middle rod as well, because I figured, well, the fish are up in the water at the moment, I might as well have at least 1 rod up in the layers. But actually, since I put that out, I've not seen any fish crews near it, so seems like they're quite clever on here.
Yeah, well, I think hopefully the fish will enjoy it when the sun goes down a little bit more, and we might get a bit of action. But as nice as this shade is, it's not going to catch me any fish off the surface, so I need to get back to it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Right, so I've just cast out, left it way beyond the spot I was fishing, as I was going to put some more mix out and bring the float back, and one's just taking it all the way over there. Well, persevered. I'm still using a size 10, I think, so it should be all right. I don't want him to go around your way. I haven't got much choice, I'm afraid. Whew. There's no stopping that. Bloody hell. Ah, I burnt my finger. Genuinely burnt the finger along the line then. Yeah, because I was sort of holding it, feathering it there.
Yeah. Oh, you want to watch that right hand rod there?
Yeah, that's why I'm underneath it. It's hearing the wind through my line route. When I first ever started fishing as about 12, I'd say, I asked my mates who had been fishing for a few years what that noise was. Yeah. They said, oh, that means your line's about to break. And I believed it for years. Yeah. Every time I heard it, I was letting it go more slack. It's like, the line's going to break.
I always remember, like, the float fishing, catching loads of roach, and you knew you had a good fish on because
the line whistled.
You hear that whistling.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, the most shoddy netting, but he's in. Happy days, one off the top.
Loads of little ones in with him, isn't there? Can't weigh them.
Oh yeah, well, little silvers.
Which way are you going to hold it? That way.
So, I'll let you do the honours.
Oh, it's 20. I'd say £20.4.
My first ever surface caught 20, so it was actually a surface PB.
Oh, happy days,
£20 4 ounce. I've never fished anywhere with bigger fish on the top, so
nice.
It's actually a PB.
Get in, mate, well done.
Happy days. Right, rejig the camera. Well, there we go. first of the match. I've really persevered with this one. They just have been extremely finicky, just as the owner Richard said. I think he said he's only ever had one off the top, and not really anyone bothers on here because they think they are so tricky. And it certainly proved to be the case. But this one, I just cast beyond the spot I was feeding and getting them going. Put the rod on the floor while I was going to put a few more mix out, and then I was going to bring the float back in. And this one, little lone one on its own, went and just nailed my floater, hooked right in the scissors. And it's actually a personal best caught off the top, sorry. I think before it was just under £20 at 19 something. And this one at £20.4 starts me off with a lovely healthy lead of £20.4, but also a personal best. So I'm very, very happy with that. I'll ask Simon to do the honours, get some snaps for me. We'll get this one back, and hopefully the first of many for both of us. It's going to hopefully start cooling down, and a few more will go on the feed. Thank you, mate. And you asked if my surface caught fish counts.
Got to try everything to beat you, haven't I, really?
Has your red gone? Because Luke's head's normally gone by this point.
I'm all right at the moment. I feel like if we get to the morning, I've still not had anything, then my head will definitely be gone.
Well, you've already got the floater kit, so
That's it.
whatever it's
Yeah.
gone.
If you can't beat them, join them. I've just got to redo this rod because someone drove their fish through my lines, didn't they? So, just,
Drove my fish. Your red has gone.
that's a term, isn't it? Drove your fish.
Anyway, I got fish taken on the top again, so I'll go try again.
We'll probably have another one in a minute then.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm putting the floaters out here and then casting beyond it all. Yeah. God, he's on that shallow bit, look. That shows how shallow it is. When I had it on the drone, showing the fish on that area, one swam off, and as it swam off, a plume of like mud came up, whereas that shallow, he looked like he was on the surface, but he was that shallow. There must have only been like a few inches between them being below the surface and touching the bottom. Yeah. Well, I've been persevering once again. Light levels are starting to drop. It's still, well, it's 5 to 8. Do you say it's the longest day of the year today?
Yeah, I think it is.
So we still got probably a couple of hours of daylight left, and they've still been really finicky and taking the old mixer, and I've been feeding them same point every time. They're drifting, and funnily enough, this bite has been on the back of where I'm feeding them, so not actually having the float where I've been putting the mixers, just going beyond it, and it seems like they're taking the ones that seem safe. That's all I can assume. And yeah, this one, one's just clean out the water down the bay twice. You see that? So they're definitely getting a bit more active now, and if I can get this one in, hopefully I'll get a couple more off the top before the 𝘃𝗶𝗶𝗀 bleach goes down, because they're definitely getting a bit more active. But I've also just redone my left and right rod, so they're fresh for the night, and not going to touch them now unless they go off. But this is being the productive one so far. He's all the way in the surface, so hopefully get this one in. And I think we better have some food. It's been stood in the sun for hours on end. Both takes have been pretty quick after the cast as well.
Yeah.
I think I only just sat down then, and they didn't even know. Oh.
Oh, mate. Oh dear. Oh dear, Joe.
Are you trying to sound sincere?
They don't count.
Well, the mixers are still out. The controller's still out. But yeah, it's not been so good. On the surface, been absolutely destroyed by the swans the last hour or so. But you saw I lost one as well, so not the best, but it does show that persevering with that tactic, even if it's not the going method on it, has been what's paid off today. It's cooling off now. You probably can't see it with this lens, but there's already some mist rising from the bay over there. The fish are becoming very active. Sun's just setting. And how's your day been?
Drinking to drown my sorrows currently. no fish for me, unfortunately. But I got suntan, so, you know, silver lining and all that.
Plan of attack tomorrow, anything different?
I might try the zigs again, because the fish seem obviously up in the water quite a lot. They look like they're maybe on a fly hatch now or something. They're sort of jumping out a bit, so maybe a zig or something like that. I might try the floaters if I can find some fish near to me. You know, if you can't beat them, join them, sort of thing. So,
So you've also brought me one.
Indeed.
Now, don't often endorse too much of this on CARPology, but after a day in the sun, which we have been keeping up fluids and sun creaming, still nice to have a cider. Cheers. And a beautiful evening to boot. Hopefully as it cools down, the bottom rods might start doing something. Be nice for Simon to get one.
Or three.
I'm not that bad in a match. I would like to see you catch fish. That fish wasn't far off the floater rig.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we're going to chill now, have some food I think. Just wind down, it's been a long old day. Catch up with you in the morning or hopefully with another fish.
Cheers.
I'm still helping it out. I'm holding out for the surface rod. Well, it's 4:30. I've been up for about 20 minutes. Simon's just lifted his weary head. It's a beautiful morning, and I've got pretty wet, cold feet because the wake-up call, I was sound asleep. The bite alarm came into my dream. It's one of those. And the left-hand rod, which was the one just here, with a bait over the top of it, has belted off, and an almighty sort of almost 10-minute long fight. I haven't actually properly seen it yet, but I know it's quite a scaly mirror. It looks nice. Gonna let it rest because he gave it his all in the fight. Wait for the light levels to raise a little bit more as well. Moon's still out. It's quite a cold night actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, I had to put a jumper on at one point.
That's something after yesterday, but beautiful mist look coming off the lake. So socks and shoes on, I think, kettle on, and then we'll get him out. But I'm going to quickly cut the line actually and ping another bag across so it's all set up out there. Ooh, socks.
It's just under 17, so 16, 14, I guess. Yeah, something like that.
There he is, rested in the net, and he clearly needed it, but he's recovered quicker than I thought, and he's been a bit lively on the mat already. But it's good to see he's already fighting fit and healthy. At £16.14, smaller than the first, but I think you'll agree, prettier. He's about to give me another slap in the face, I think. But absolutely stunning fish, big old sliced scales on it. Imagine this when he's put on a bit more weight. He's already beautiful, but yeah, I'm sure when he puts on a bit of weight, as he's just tried to hit me in the face again, I'll show you the other side. He's just as pretty on both sides. Lovely wake-up call, and the misty morning is absolutely beautiful. So it's just come over the horizon to light him up beautifully. There we go, there's the other side. So 16.14 onto my £20.4. Trying to think, that's 21, 2 and 16. Is that 37? I think my maths isn't brilliant. That's probably way off, but I think it's 37. But yeah, very, very welcome.
Yeah,
Get a few snaps and sticking back. Was that wrong, my maths?
I think it's like 37.2 or something.
Well, it's not a proper good morning until we've had a coffee.
Absolutely.
And it's still only 6:30. It
Really?
It's been up a couple of hours.
I'll go back to bed in a minute.
But you're looking a bit more chirpy. Some activity in your swim.
Yeah, I've seen a couple show now on my left-hand rod, so that's promising. It's been pretty quiet the whole session so far, really, in my swim. I've not seen an awful lot of activity. They do seem to be favouring that sort of middle part of the lake, don't they?
Definitely. But I've had a solid bag on that Sunken Island all night and not so much as the beach.
It's crazy.
So, a bit bizarre that the bites I've had haven't actually been where they've been showing the most. They've been obviously the 2 on the top yesterday, off where I was baiting, and that one in the margin this morning. But looks like it's set to be another scorcher anyway.
Yeah, it's warming up already, isn't it? It was a bit sort of dewy this morning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you excuse the pun.
Plenty of hours, plenty of time to go. I think the other anglers are going to be turning up, I think Rich said, from about 7. So that might play in our favour.
Yeah, might move the fish around.
Like 2 people are going to my left, 2 to your right.
Yeah.
All the fish that may be in each bay, hoping will be pushed to
I think
where there's already rigs set.
Last night there was a lot of fish down that far end down there, wasn't there? So hopefully they'll spook them out towards us a little bit.
Fingers crossed. Like, yeah, it could push them around, and because it's quite a shallow lake and they're moving around, burning energy, they got to feed at some point. Hopefully we'll capitalise on that.
Are you gonna sort of stick to guns or
I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to say when you've had a couple, but I think it is. I can't do anything more than what I am. Just like you can't really do much more.
Yeah.
It's a case of whether the fish are there or not.
I didn't know whether to maybe like pick some different spots, but there's no point really. I might as well stick to what I'm doing and wait for the fish to turn up really.
Because we're not a million miles apart. Because the fish that were showing yesterday, where I've got one up in that bay, they've been mooching around the channel. Your swim definitely seems like if they're moving from one end to the other, they will come past.
Yeah, it's a bit of a passing point, isn't it? It's probably the narrowest part of the lake, isn't it? So you'd think they sort of funnel through here a little bit.
Yeah, and it's quite nice the setup he's got here that no one can fish opposites. You've all got an opposite margin. You've got no one going to be cast into your water. It's all divided up quite nicely. Yeah. Beautiful, tranquil as well.
Yeah.
You had a pin drop last night.
Yeah.
Unless I was snoring, I don't know. I was
you were a little bit, yeah.
Anyway, get this coffee down us, and then I'll talk you guys through the bivvy I used. Is that too cheesy? Suddenly turn into the camera like, I'll talk to you guys. Now, as you know, this series is brought to you by Prologic, so a big thank you to them for putting this on for us. And it does mean that we focus on a key item on each of these sessions as well. And today, it's this, the Prologic C-Series 2-man bivvy. Now, the reason you only seen it this morning and not sometime yesterday when I set it out is because, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't really looking forward to setting up a 2-man in what was probably around 24, 25 degree heat. It was sweltering yesterday, but I needn't have actually worried. I'd done this in the evening. I did have a couple of other blokes here that gave me a hand setting it up, but even if they weren't here, I would have been able to do this quite easily myself, because as a 2-man, yes, there's stacks of space in there, but if you're looking for a bivvy that's kind of a very generous 1-man, I guess you could use it for that. For longer sessions, it's perfect for that, but also there is space in there to put 2 bed chairs. And as this stands alone, you can get this C-Series 2-man bivvy as it is, you can see right now, for around the £200 mark. I'm looking online today. But you can also buy this as a complete setup with an overwrap, and that comes in at about £100 extra, so just under £300 for this bivvy and the overwrap. And of course, that will give you a lot more space because the overwrap goes around the general shape of this bivvy. Because of this large peak, it then drops down and gives you an extra bit of space as well. On top of that, it gives you more protection from the elements. So in day like today, it would keep it cooler hopefully in there and a bit more shade, which I'm actually going to leave this up for the rest of the day until I go probably, just so I can have a little break from the shade. And also with a large vent at the back, it should give me some nice airflow if it does start to get a bit breezy. It's pretty still, the air at the moment, so it is already it's not even 8 o'clock yet and it's already feeling like it's upper teens. But I'm looking forward to having a bit of shade today. But yeah, so the overwrap will obviously keep it a bit cooler in the summer, but in the winter she'll keep it warm in there as well, and also reduces condensation. It got pretty damp last night, considering it's so hot yesterday, then dropped off to single figures. It did get a bit condensated, so if you were going to use this for longer sessions, I probably would put the overwrap on to cut down on the condensation. But yeah, the way it went up is pretty simple. It's a simple pram hood style bivvy, 2 main ribs, tension bars all the way around, so you've got 2 either side and 1 main one that goes from the very back all the way across to the peak. So the tension front to back is solid, and side to side again is pretty solid. Because of the way it's sort of wide and still fairly low, you can't stand up in there, it's not stupidly high either, which makes it a bit wobbly. It's pretty sturdy as it is. Pegs out simply. I've got the door completely pegged up at the moment, but that is a 2-way letterbox style door. No vents on the front on this one, but you can pull back the sides, so I'm going to have this as a completely open fronted shelter. And if you were to do that and pull back the sides and keep it like that and then put the overwrap on, of course you then have absolute stacks of room, because that won't be there, but the overwrap will be out down from the peak, giving you probably an extra foot or so of space at the front. Material wise is 8000mm hydrostatic head, so it protects you from all the elements that you need. It does let light through, so if you like a bivvy that's a bit darker, obviously you're going to have to go for heavier material, and that's one of the downsides of going thicker material. Typically it becomes a lot heavier, so it's fairly lightweight for a 2-man. I'm not sure of the exact statistics on the, or specification on the weight, but it wasn't breaking my back. It came on my barrow easy enough, and pack down size isn't much bigger than a standard size bivvy, because as you can see, it's not ginormous for a 2-man, but it is good for longer sessions on your own, or you could take someone else with you. So it's ideal for someone that's doing longer sessions or likes a bit more space, or maybe do the odd trip to France once a year or something and don't want to break the bank, because as I said about the price, this on its own as it stands is around the 200 mark, with the overwrap is 300. So all in, if you're just using a 2-man bivvy every now and then, it's not extortionate like some 2-man bivvies can be. So yes, it may be a bit more stripped back on features as you'd see on some higher end bivvies, but it's catering for those of you that are on a bit more of a budget but still like to use a bigger bivvy at times. And just touch upon rod retaining straps as you'd expect on the peak, and this peak also folds back. So if you're not a fan of having a pram hood style peak on the front, just take this bar out, roll it up, and as you would toggle any kind of window or something, you've got little toggles on either side that will hold that peak back, so it just makes it a much more, I don't know, sleeker, rounded sort of shape. But I do like having a peak on it, just protects you from any driving rain. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that is the Prologic C-Series 2-man bivvy with overwrap. Back to the fishing. Probably try and get on the surface again. Whew.
Right guys, if I look a little bit shiny, it's because it's already about 25 degrees. As you can probably tell from the footage, it's been up against us a little bit, the weather on this session. Had really hot yesterday and then cold last night, and almost a frost it looked like on top of the bivvy this morning. And then it's back up to sort of 25 degrees again today, and it's due to get even hotter. So we are up against it, but we're persevering. So I just thought I'd talk you through my tactics of what I've been doing, and I've made a couple of changes as well, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So I started off on this setup, which is my sort of favourite rig at the moment. It's just an amnesia D rig. So I've got some 20-pound amnesia, just knotless knotted, and then the tag end you put a hook ring swivel on and put it back through the eye and blob it, and a little bit of putty in the middle just helps to keep it pinned down and helps drop the hook in the fish's mouth when it gets picked up. And then the hook bait is just a little SS1 wafter from Pure Bait Concepts, and that just sits nicely above the hook like that when it's on the bottom of the lake. And then I've just put that out with a little small mesh bag of pellets and some boilie crumb and some pellets as well. So I'm just fishing over a very small amount of bait really, just trying to nick a bite, because I don't think you're going to get the fish really going over loads of bait at this time of year particularly, especially with the conditions as well. So I'm trying to adapt to, you know, the sort of conditions on the day. But I have just made a couple of changes because obviously it's not worked so far. So what I've done is I've put my left-hand rod onto a little pop-up rig, a little withy pool rig, which is my favourite sort of pop-up rig really, because I was sort of looking in the margins and there's quite a lot of, you know, debris on the bottom, even though it feels clear when you pull the lead back. There's bits of weed and bits of sort of broken reeds and stuff all around. So I thought a little pop-up might sit better over that. And actually on a recent session I did exactly that, and I managed to catch 330s on the bounce. So I thought it was worth a try on this session as well. So I've got a pop-up on one now, and I've put a zig rig on the middle rod because, again, with the hot weather, I feel like fish are up in the layers, and Joe had one on the surface yesterday. So a zig rig, you know, sort of fishes in those upper layers and hopefully picks off any fish that are cruising through in front of me. And then my other rod I've kept on this rig just because I think, you know, it's such a good presentation and so subtle. I'm fishing over lots of little small bits of crumb and pellet. It's just a perfect little setup really. So yeah, that's what I've done. Changed things up a little bit. Still got a fair few hours to go, so hopefully we can make something happen before we have to leave.
Are you panicking?
My head has gone a little bit now, I must admit, mate. I've just started finding some mixers in the bay just round to my right of my swim as well. Just hopefully getting some fish taken off the top, but yeah, at the moment they don't seem very interested in that either. So I'm trying everything, but yeah, so far nothing's happened, but there's still time.
Well, it's coming up 10:30 and it's already sweltering hot. It's meant to get up to about 27, 28 degrees today, but thankfully there's a little bit of a wind, a little bit of a breeze to cool us down. But Simon's head's gone. And it, mate. Simon? Oh yeah. He took a surface rod and went onto the match lake next door. Don't blame him. It's pretty grueling. I'm sure it'd be the same if I was in this swim. It's a bit of a passing place and not really a spot that I think would pick up many fish or hold fish that much. And people haven't gone into our right, which I thought they were going to. So it's not like anyone's pushing any fish that might be down in that bay. There's a couple of people to my left now, there and there. And I'm still trickling mixers out to try and get them on the surface. They're taking the odd one or two, but a bit frustratingly, where I'm putting them out here, they're then drifting and taking a few off the back of them when they sort of drift over there into the next door's water. So there's a post pretty much there in line with the big tree, and an invisible line goes across into this bay. Now they can't access this bay, so my margin rod's fine, but it does mean that the water sort of halfway across becomes their water, and that, sod's law, is where the fish are starting to take the mixers. So I'm going to try and keep on trickling them in, and hopefully they'll start taking closer to me, but it is what it is. It took me 4 or 5 hours of constantly trickling in every 30 seconds to a minute, just a pinch of mixers until they started taking, and then I got one off the top. So playing the long game, there's not a lot else I can do. As you saw, I put the right hand rod out with the baiting pole between them. I've now got the middle rod on a little 1.5 foot zig, again, right in the mix, where I'm putting the mixers basically. So if there's fish about, I'm sure that's on their nose. So if they're not taking that, then I'm not sure what else I can do. And the left one's staying in that margin. So I've got a few different bases covered. I'm persevering, even though it's baking hot. I'm just going to stick at it because I'm not going to get anything if I'm not putting the effort in. So that's where we're up to, and come early afternoon, that'll be the end of the match, but holding out for the win because it's not looking too likely, especially as Simon's not there at the moment, but it could change. A couple of decent fish, or a fish move through his swim when he's back, he may get a couple, but who knows. Let's get some more mixers out. Finally got them taking a few. I'm going to bring the zig rig in because it's kind of sat amongst where they're taking the odd few biscuits, and although that could work when they drop down and take them, I'm also thinking it could be holding them off from feeding too much because they can visibly see a line or something. And I'm not as confident with zigs. I'd rather bring that in and fish with 2 rods for a while and try and get them feeding properly on that spot, then put the surface controller up there and use 3. Some of you may be shouting at the screen saying, why on earth would you bring a zig rig in from where the fish are feeding? But it's a confidence thing at the end of the day. He didn't like that, did he? Ooh, is that in? Yes. Yes! Oh, first cast. Finally, perseverance has paid again. Hopefully I'll land this one, but that's been, what would you say, about 3 hours of just feeding mixers? Ooh. Oh, he's come off.
Hello, darkness,
Or has he
my
pinged off his
old
dorsal?
friend. Oh, what?
Pinged off its dorsal really badly. I've never been so convinced I've just lost a fish.
You don't think you foul looked it now or something, do you?
Oh, it could have been. It definitely felt like it came off.
You walked all the way back over here, so...
Yeah, but I felt resistance as I did that.
Oh, right.
So I was like, hold on. So there's every chance that this fish I've just hooked has ditched the hook and then rehooked himself somewhere else in its body. I'm not sure. Unless it was just the most savage dorsal ping I've ever experienced. But either way, this has been about 3 hours of just constantly trickling the mixers in. And then the first cast, I've had a bite. Please still be hooked in the mouth. I saw the mixer in his mouth, so I think I'm good.
Happy days.
He must have just wrapped himself on the line and then it pinged really bad.
He turned really quick, didn't he?
We'll get a gulp. Don't. Oh, this is a joke. Genuinely, my back is in pieces.
Really?
He's not even that big. Let's want him in now. Come on. Stop it. Come on. Oh, you are joking. What can I do to get this fish in?
Yeah.
This is infuriating. I've never known a fish evade the net this
Oh,
many
I thought you
times.
had him then.
No. He went over the net cord just as I was lifting.
I could have sworn I saw him go over the net on this
He
camera.
did. He was in and then turn a bolt before he could get the net up. I can't go any further with the net. Ugh. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Oh. He didn't have to give me a run around. Stretch the back. Well, there we have the result of yet more perseverance. I've never been a patient one when it comes to surface fishing. As soon as I see him take the odd mixer, the surface rod's already out there, but stuck to my guns, tried getting them feeding in a bit more confidently. I don't think I'm ever going to have them pack manning and competing on here, but enough confidence for them to take the mixer this time as well. And £14.2 is the smallest one, but again, very, very pretty little mirror. And Rich said if anything's around £13–14 mark, probably or under, go back into the match lake next door, unless we think it's pretty enough and good enough to stay in. And we both agree this one's pretty enough to stay in this lake and grow onto a bit bigger. Imagine this at 20 odd pound plus. So very, very welcome, lovely fish, and again, on one of my favourite methods, off the top. Happy days. Let's get him back because it is a very hot, hot morning.
Nice.
Are you looking forward to aircon as much as me?
Oh, mate, it's going to be so good. I'm going to have to ask Ed for some shorts, I think.
Yes. People are probably going to be asking Ed to get me some joggers because then you don't have to see my pasty white shins all the time. It has been a bit of a grueler, not going to lie.
Yeah.
And I think it all boils down to that little lens flip at the start.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, there were fish in front of me when we started, but they definitely drifted more into that middle section, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the floaters that you were putting in kind of kept them there as well, so good angling, mate. Fair
Yeah,
play.
I think it was, I'd have been the same. I'm pretty sure if I was in your swim, I probably would have ended on a blank as well.
Yeah.
But having said that, I have had a lot of fish in front of me, but I've had to work to get them, because if it wasn't for the surface fishing,
Yeah, you would have maybe
it was
had
that one
one
bite on the margin this morning,
and,
and then 3 bites on the top, obviously lost one, but hard going. But I think a few more people might try floater fishing on it now, because
yeah.
the owner was saying no one does it, they don't take a floater, and clearly if you get them going, hard work, you have to persevere, but you can get them.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming all this way.
Yeah,
But I
no
have to
worries.
say, CARPology won, Prologic now.
Boo.
Cheers for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and do make sure you subscribe to us and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. And of course, there's going to be more of these verses coming in the future. I believe the next one is going to be Luke against Ben from Prologic. Who do you reckon is going to win that one?
I think Ben probably. Sorry, Luke.
gotta say
Sorry, Luke.
But yeah, and also your own channel.
Yeah, I'll be putting a video together this session, I think.
And even if not, you've still got a YouTube channel. You can tell
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
it
of
is.
course. Yeah, it's just Simon Dew carp fishing. Go check it out. Got loads of videos, rig tying stuff, sessions, adventures abroad, and all sorts. Yeah.
Do you catch on those ones?
Yeah, usually. Yeah, not always, but you know.
Not when you're shoehorned into a spot of the lake.
Yeah, not in no carp bay. I'm never going to catch anything.
Nice one. But anyway, that's it for us for now. We're going to load all the kit back onto barrows, back in the cars, and like I said, aircon on. It's going to be bliss.
Oh yes.